everybody, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you showing up this late at night, meeting us, and learning more about Brynne Tillman and social networking. We're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to be here.
Round of applause. Enterprise sales meetup.
Our second, it's been very successful. We had over 40 people the first one.
Yes.
And everybody's signing up. Some people might not have showed up, but they're definitely showing interest in sharing, brainstorming, and advancing themselves in their profession of sales. So we're really happy that you're here to participate with us, and then we hope as we're going along and hearing what you have to say about the social networking, that you folks ask questions, be engaged, don't be shy, and speak up and share your thoughts with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark. I want to give you some background on the enterprise sales and why you're so wonderful, why it is so wonderful. And here you go.
The word is fabulous. Fabulous. That's the word of the evening. But thank you. That's okay as well. Thanks, Donna. The whole idea around the enterprise sales meetup evolved because, and I told some of you this story, but the gist around the enterprise sales meetup was to build a community of B2B sales professionals that could share ideas, could network with peers, as well as learn what actually works today in sales. And there's so many things that we've relied upon as sales professionals that we think still work in this day and age. And obviously we'll delve into a little bit of some of the bad things that don't actually translate very well into this modern era of selling. But I just felt this burden talking to a lot of both startups, founders, early sales reps, heads of sales, as well as folks in larger companies, in enterprise scale companies that were having these same issues around sales. And I wanted to provide this forum, this community where we can talk about these things and learn from each other. If you have the questions around sales, there's people here who have answers around sales. And vice versa, there's folks who could be mentors that can help guide. And so that's the essence of building this community. I started back in New York in August 2014. Now we have a community in Boston, DC, now Philly, and hopefully other communities down the road. But I really thank you for spending your evening here with us to talk about social selling. We'll do some fun things afterwards. We'll go out to a bar just down the street, Black Sheep Pub, if you want to join us afterwards for some drinks and appetizers. But we'll just kick it off with this fun topic of what are we doing again, Brynne?
I think it's the whole LinkedIn social selling thing.
You use LinkedIn?
A little.
Little? No, yeah, a little bit. And because we're talking about this thing called social selling, you may want to tweet.
That'd be great. At social sales link.
At social sales link right there, up at the top, at enterprise_sale. We do have a hashtag. That's how popular we are. We have our own hashtag. It's called Philly Sales.
I love that.
I want to hear more woots in the back
And
there.
if you actually want to tweet out tips, if you go to Safari or type in tweetssl.info, it'll auto-populate a whole tweet for you.
There you go.
Right? And then you tweet out what I want you to talk about.
But thank you, Brynne, for joining us this evening. And just want to maybe give a little bit of background about how you got into this whole thing around social selling and what you're doing, and maybe share one interesting tidbit about yourself that folks might not know about.
Oh, okay. So how did I get involved? I am a sales trainer by trade, and I found this LinkedIn thing, and that's what I called it for 6 months, by the way. And I saw this, even though it was this job searching tool, I quickly recognized what a powerful sales tool it was. So I started teaching it from a sales perspective in 2008, really as a loss leader for my sales training company, bringing people in, and it really kind of became an entity into itself. I authored a book that did rather well, and then I ended up very amicably splitting from my partner in the sales training and launching Social Sales Link just about 2.5 years ago.
one interesting tidbit?
I thought you were going to forget that you said that. Okay. I was a professional comedian in college.
Yeah.
See, there you go. Actually, round of applause. Comedy, super hard.
It was, yeah.
Super
It came out of actually a final exam for my public speaking class. I did an open mic night and they kept calling me back. And it was fun.
I think there's a budding comic over here, right, Donna?
Yes, I am. A frustrated class
Frust-
comic, yes.
Okay.
I use it in sales as a sales technique.
You-
Improv and sales.
I may do comedy and sales as a future topic, but
I have a couple of points I can introduce you to.
Well, there's true stories.
no, the true stories come out
The true
generally
stories-
after a few months.
Yeah, but the true stories are the real funny ones, the ones that really happen.
So this whole thing around social selling. I mean, first, maybe we just want to get like a definition out of the way. So, what do you think when you think social selling?
So social selling, in my mind, is broken up into really 4 stages, and then you can really dive down into all 4. But from a broad view, the first one is really listening, and it's really identifying who is your target market, and where are they hanging out, and what do they care about, and what are they talking about, and what are they sharing, because you can't properly sell to them if you don't know who they are or what matters to them. Big thing is identifying what platform they're hanging out on. Like, are they on Twitter, are they on Facebook, are they Snapchatters, or are they LinkedIn? So that's the first stage, is listening. The second stage, I think, is really foundational in that it's beginning to educate your audience. So once you've identified what they care about, go in and educate them. And then you want to engage them. Once you're educating, you want to engage with them, right? So they like your post, you talk with them. And engaging is 2 things. It's engaging with people that actively really responded to you, and it's proactively finding them and beginning conversations. And then the 4th one is really positioning yourself as the thought leader and the subject matter expert when you are in person. Now, I know people go, well, how is that social selling? Well, it's taking everything that you learned online, everything that you learned through engagement, through prospecting, and ultimately getting them to see you as the vendor of choice.
That's really interesting. You really think about it more as a process, right? And the 4 steps again, it's about
listening, educating, engaging, and positioning.
And think about more from a process perspective as opposed to, it's a bunch of channels and you just post a bunch of stuff. So I really like the fact that you couch it in, there's actually a thought process behind how you do this. It's not just a channel. It's not just a website you go to.
Yeah, that's what we find is really critical, because marketing has been very involved with social media and social networking for a very long time. Salespeople, at least the ones I talk to, have absolutely no interest in social marketing. It's time consuming, there's no ROI, I need to make sales now. Social selling, however, is really critical from a sales perspective, because it's the way that you hunt today. It's the way that you get in front of new people. And marketing can certainly support that in many ways, but it's not something that you can hire someone to do for you. Because this is about engaging with people and building real relationships. I have so many people say, can you do this for me? And I could make a fortune if I did it, but it wouldn't be effective, right? It just wouldn't be effective. This is really about building relationships. And I treat social selling in the networking realm the same way I would treat this room. Just introducing yourself to new people and really beginning to create value in your network.
And it's interesting that you say that there's, kind of two-phased, right? Marketing was really into just social media, social networking, early stage. But there's some things that's going to be changing nowadays where it's almost forcing salespeople to have to use social media. What do you think has really changed fundamentally to create that shift?
Well, clearly the internet has made a significant shift. Without giving away my age, when I started in sales, there were no cell phones. There were no laptops. There were no, So when I was working with Dun & Bradstreet, for example, if they wanted to know what I sold, what my solution was, I could either send them stuff or sit with them eyeball to eyeball, kneecap to kneecap, and have a conversation. Now, according to CEB, the Corporate Executive Board, 57% of the buying decision is made before they're ever having a conversation with a sales rep. So that is a significant shift. And so buying habits have changed. So rather than even saying that the selling has changed, it's because the buying has changed that we now have to adjust to that.
That's a good point. I mean, in fact, in our last conversation, the Philly Enterprise Sales Meeting was all about the buyer journey.
Right.
And how it really changed to be more about that. And even CBs even noted that with their last book.
The challenger customer, yeah, and it's really about, consensus selling, which is something that we don't do naturally, or most people don't, which falls into social selling. So it typically, how many people have been in sales for a decade or more? Okay. So typically, the selling process is you identify all the influencers and decision makers, and you meet with them individually. So you meet with the CIO and you find out what does the CIO care about. And then you meet with the HR person and what does the HR person care about. And you get yeses individually. And that's how we always sold, get them on board and what matters to them and how it affects them. And what the Corporate Executive Board found out in their research is that when you do that, you have a much lower close rate than if you've got them all saying yes around one point, a consensus sale. So social can really help with that significantly, because you can continue to get a message out there through content that brings them all together. So I think that, I don't know, that's, yeah. And the other part that they brought out is on average there's 5.4 decision makers on every sale.
Yeah,
And that's significant.
That's a lot of people you have to basically
You have to nurture.
Nurture.
Yeah, and so social's a great way to do that. LinkedIn particularly is a fantastic way to begin to nurture your network, and there are things like Sales Navigator that really makes it easy for you to continue to have touch points with all of the decision makers and influencers in your network.
Maybe it makes sense to just dive into maybe some more tactical things around actually getting started, right? Because everyone talks about social selling, guys can do social selling, but it seems rather daunting, right? I think everyone here has at least a LinkedIn profile. Does everyone have at least a LinkedIn profile? How many people have a Twitter account?
A little more sophisticated than you think.
Maybe.
Maybe start a little higher up.
Yeah. How about Snapchat? Yeah, that's from Snapchat. So, but a lot of these things evolve. But where do you start? What makes sense? What do you even do from a profile perspective? I see a
Great
lot of
question.
things there.
A lot of mistakes. So if you are in sales, you need to change your mindset from resume to resource. Hands down, that's one of the most important things you need to do. They don't care about you. I'm sorry, but they don't. What do they care about? Right? They care about how you're going to help them. What's going to make their life better, their life easier. So we need to start with our profile. And if in your headline you have VP of Sales, account manager, any of that stuff, but no matter whatever amazing stuff got them to your profile, they're not taking your call. Now, I'm very proud to be in sales. I'm not saying it's not a great thing. I love being in sales. But if you're reaching out to people to have a conversation and the first thing they see is you're in sales, then they think you're trying to sell them.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was just having a conversation with someone whose LinkedIn headline was, I closed a $20 million deal. and see.
Oh my God, that's just horrible.
It's like terrible. And then they have like all the stats, like,
No.
2009 President's Club.
That only
2010
matters if
President's Club.
you're in the job market, right? Because your future employer cares about that.
Yeah, it's a resume perspective.
It's a resume perspective, but you want to look at this as your landing page. This is your opportunity. We need to get the goal of your profile if you're in sales is to get more phone calls with qualified prospects. And you need to keep that goal in mind as you go through your entire profile. Is this working toward my goal or against my goal? My favorite thing is when I go into the skills section and they're like, great negotiations. You're a good negotiator. I'm like, your prospects don't want to know that you're good at negotiation. Like, that's not a positive in the eyes of your prospect. Like, so we really need to look at what matters to them. So we start with that, right? But it's true, right? So we start with the headline, which really needs to be the value that you bring. How do you help? What are you doing? Like mine is, I think, something like transforming the way sales professionals leverage LinkedIn and social selling to grow their business. I don't know, something like that. But when they get there, they know immediately what I do. Because if I said CEO of social sales link, whatever, they'd be like, who cares? Right? But if you care about transforming the way you grow your business through LinkedIn and social selling, you might be a little interested. I'll look a little more. So where do you think is the first place they go once you get past the headline? What's that? What's that? Summary. So the next place they go is summary. And so you know what 90% of the people that have a full profile, you know what their summary starts with? I have 25 years experience, or my passion is. You haven't earned the right for them to care about that yet. So what do we want to start with in our summary? We want to start with uh-oh moments and aha moments. It's really simple. We want to bring their pain to the surface, right? Like what, it's traditional sales thinking, but it's what is the thorn in their side when it comes to your offering. And you can say many of my clients have seen this in the industry. You don't want to make that the very first line, but and you talk about all the uh-oh moments. What's wrong with them? This is also Challenger Customer too. It actually fits right in.
Right on.
So Challenger Customer calls it breaking status quo. Your biggest competition is not your competitor. What's your biggest competition? Doing nothing.
Status quo.
Right? Status quo is your biggest competitor. No matter how much they love your features and benefits. I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So how many of you have a car that's a couple years old that you love? Okay. So let's say now 2 years old, right? You probably have either a 3-year or 4-year lease, whatever that is. And now you see an advertisement for like the coolest car ever. It parks itself. Not only does it have a backup camera, but it's like it can record. I don't know, right? And like your steering wheel is heated and yours isn't. You're like 2 years old, 3 years old in your car, and it's like, oh God, I would love that. I would love to have that backup camera. I hate to parallel park in the city. I would love for it to park itself. But my car's good enough. Status quo. So we have to break status quo. So if we're talking about a car and they advertise, cars made in 2013 have twice as many injuries and accidents than our new car. In fact, all of our airbags have saved so many lives or whatever it is. And if you have a car from 2013, you need to go find out right now if your children are protected. I mean, I'm making this up, but what would you say now? Are you okay with status quo, or do you have a little like, I have to check on this, right? So if you create that pain, you start to break status quo.
almost think that was inception, getting that idea.
You're
in their minds.
you're making them slightly uncomfortable. It's not going to all happen in your summary, right? Like there's still a whole sales process ahead of you, but it gets them thinking, right, about that maybe status quo. Is it good enough? And then you want to tell them what they should be looking at that will fix that problem. Vendor agnostically, not saying we do this, but here, let's say, who do you sell to, Steve?
Anybody that's not making enough money
All right, so give me a title.
right now. IT, director,
Okay.
actually, sales VPs.
Okay, so you're selling, and what are you selling in? This is a great moment to like,
Cloud vendors right now, any kind of guys. in
And what are you selling?
engagement Platforms.
what are you selling to cloud vendors?
Techniques to make them target better markets.
Okay, techniques to make them target better markets. And you're talking to the cloud IT people to do that?
Usually CEOs and the VPs of sales. So
Okay.
if they're targeting an engagement platform, YouTube platforms to try and.
So give me 3 things right now, vendor agnostically, not like why I need to hire you, but the 3 things that CEO or VP of sales should be doing right now that they're not.
That they're not doing.
Yeah.
They're not usually differentiating themselves enough
Okay.
in terms of what they're selling.
And what does that do to them?
It puts them in a Me Too category, which means they don't, nobody knows why they should be paid.
And they're missing business opportunities and leaving money on the table,
Because they're not getting selected.
right? Because
Yes.
do they care about that now? Number 2,
The other thing they're not doing is they're targeting the wrong customers typically.
they're talking to the wrong customer.
They're not identifying which customers actually have that pain or where the pain is the greatest that they should go to.
So they're spinning the wheels, wasting resources, wasting time, where they could be in front of more of the right people, but they're not.
Correct.
So it's leaving money on the table, costing them. Always bring it back to their pocket. Okay. Number 3, right? Number 3. Give me the 3rd one.
And the third one is that they're typically not using enough social proof. And there's ways to spin it so that they can put out examples of what they could be doing. So as they're
There's
going,
not enough credibility through case
Yeah.
studies, through, right? Okay, great. Which is, they're losing an edge where their competitors may be gaining.
or they're leaving their own assets that they've got internally. They're not putting them out there.
Okay, so how many people are the CEO right now thinking, oh, that's a problem? Did we get any uh-oh moments?
Sure.
A couple of uh-oh moments? Okay, and we could refine it and you want to talk to the right person. But we've created enough in your head that, are you curious?
Should be.
Okay, so now we ask for the call. In your summary, if you are concerned about if this is hitting home, I invite you to have a conversation. Whether or not we decide to work together, I'm confident our call will be full of insights that can help you overcome this. And we close for the call. And we do that lots of different places. But can you see the power in that versus my passion? And so that's the foundation of social selling, is really positioning yourself through it. We're educating them starting with our profile.
It's funny because you came out the way we typically sell. When I was at Siebel, good example, we had this 60-page slide deck. The corporate deck, you had to go out there, and the very first slide was, we have 2,000 customers, blah, blah.
Here are all the logos that are this big.
Here are all the
That's
logos.
it.
Oh, but my favorite slide was, our application has 1,700 views and 4,000 applets. I mean,
Okay, ready for how to run the first call? This is that 4th piece, right? How to position. Ready?
Sure.
How did I get that phone call? Whether or not we work together, I'm confident our conversation will be full of insights. So what does our conversation have to be? Full of insights, right? So I have a 15-minute call, and I get on the call, and this is the traditional, your little niceties, and before I kind of jump into my agenda, can I ask, was there anything specific you were hoping we were going to cover? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, no, I'm just curious. Okay, so say, great. Well, I'm really looking forward to offering some insights. I want this 15 minutes to be the best 15 minutes of your week. So before I kind of just jump into my shtick, can can I ask you a couple questions so I can tailor those insights for your particular need? So what did I just ask for?
Permission.
To ask questions for my discovery call, but it's in a totally different way. I'm allowed to ask questions because they're on the call because they want more insights. And now I position myself to offer insights tailored to you. How cool is that? And now they answer all the questions that we typically would sit there with our little yellow pad and like go through our old list of like, you know, my checklist of questions. And now it's a real conversation, and they're going to tell you stuff because you are now the therapist of their business.
I like that perspective because so many times we have this dynamic where it's sellers, we sell, and there's other people on the other side,
Yep.
they're buyers. We really got to break that paradigm.
Absolutely. So it becomes a conversation, an insightful conversation, and your goal, and you can have them in your pocket because you know your clients, and the top 2 or 3 insights are 90% of the time. We say we're tailoring them. They're rarely really tailored, maybe a little. So you have those insights in your pocket, and you go through them in conversation as they talk about things. Offer stuff, and don't be afraid of, like, you know, the old sales training would say never give away free consultation. That's shifted totally. It's a 180. And it's not like you have to give everything away, but if you don't earn the right through insights and education, you're never going to get the deal in today's market. So you give it away. They're not going to remember it anyway. You know, I mean, they just won't. They'll just remember that you gave them great ideas. And at the end of the call, when you have 2 minutes left, you've gone through your 13 minutes, you give them some powerful stuff, and you're like, we're just getting at the end of our call. I want to respect your time. I think that I offered a couple of great things, recap. And you know, I've got some other ideas, things that we've done to help our clients that have had a very similar situation to you. I don't know if you have an extra few minutes now or if you want to schedule a second call, but I would love to show you how we've helped some of our other clients in your situation. Now, what have you done? You've asked permission to convert it from an insightful call to a sales call. And the moment they say, oh, I want to hear that, you have permission to talk about your product.
You create essentially a mini commitment. You're getting a commitment from that.
Well, now they're excited. You gave them all the stuff. They want to hear all the other stuff.
Exactly.
You've got them on a roll.
You got them on the cliffhanger.
Yeah, and they're now excited to hear it. But you have to ask permission to make the switch, or they feel like it was a bait and switch. They feel like they got me on this call and now they're going to sell to me. But you have to ask permission. The moment they say, yeah, I want to hear how you helped your other clients, you're free to go. And that's the new way of running a sales appointment today.
I love the fact that you've really taken it from, let me just talk about a bunch of product features, which is how, you know, old school enterprise sales has been doing it for so long. And really think about what is insightful, what is actually adding value to their business that's relevant, that's contextual. But I think a lot of challenges that reps have is where are they getting those insights, right? I think a lot of times we just rely on marketing and then providing you the pitch deck, the product brochures, this, that. Do you have like any ideas around the content creation and just
Absolutely.
Building that up?
Tons. Okay. So where do you get your content? Every question you answer to a client or a prospect, write down. That's probably a topic. If they're interested, that's relevant to them, right? Number 2, you want great stuff, interview blogs. Go out to your prospects with 3 questions every single week. You pick a new prospect and you build a relationship around interviewing them, which turns into content for you, which in turn all of their competitors want to read. They think that that's your client because you interviewed them, right? You've built to their ego, and you now have a relationship that's totally non-sales. Then you want to thank them with a lunch, you know, for doing this interview, right? I mean, there are so many ways to gather content. I mean, I have on my phone, I have like this, I don't know, 700 lists, like a list of 700 topics that just come to mind every time I talk with someone. I get aha moments from other people's stuff. So the content is in you, the content is with you. You don't have to be a great writer. Get like Dragon dictation on your phone if you're a talker and just talk. It types it out for you, email it to yourself, and send it to someone to edit at Fiverr.com for $5.50. Like, seriously, you can create content that it's not just about wowing your prospect anymore, it's about engaging them. Like, there are tons of great pieces of content that don't engage someone for the sale. They just get them going, oh, that was so cool. You've got to focus on your goal. What's your goal? Get more qualified phone calls with the right people. That's your goal. In all of social selling, that's your goal. So is what you're doing working toward or against that?
I'm glad
So
you,
passionate.
well, you bring it back to like a goal, like, right? And we think, oh, well, social selling is just this thing I do to, get some prospects.
If you're not getting phone calls, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Or it's social marketing, which is perfectly fine. But if you want to do social selling, you've got to work toward getting phone calls. And there are so many easy ways to make that easier for your people to schedule those calls.
It's kind of flipping the whole perspective of, well, give. So if you're just giving, then yeah, you're essentially just marketing, and it's going into the ether. It's really about getting that conversation, getting that call.
Absolutely. And don't be fooled, you are giving to get. I mean, look, we all need to make a living. How many people here really need new friends? It's not why we're doing this, right? It's for business.
So true.
John's like, I cannot believe she just said that.
Oh my goodness, people are like screaming in the video. Like, what are you talking about?
But guys, really, like, let's not play games. Let's not it doesn't mean, look, at every point we're bringing value to them. I'm not trying to trick them. We're bringing them great solutions for the problems that we know that they have. So it's not like, oh, I'm trying to manipulate the system. But at the end of the day, let's get right to the point. Let's get to it. Let's have this conversation. You've got problems, I've got solutions, and I want to help you.
And, I want to add to that, like,
Here, come in the video.
This is
Slide your
community.
chair.
This-
Slide your
this-
chair.
oh, I can see
Yeah, come on over here.
I think, some of this feels like I'm a month so I've been pulled and snipped 15 times like generators, so I just want. But I think that to your point about the insight selling, there's a lot of ways to get content, and some of it is actually through industry analysis. Like I try to, and often
Right.
when I'm doing my prospecting calls, right, I'll say, dear, such and such, usually I'm doing a CEO, I've been working with clients across the Northeast corridor and some of the CIOs that are in the same, school district or,
Whatever
size your size, and here's the 3 trends that they're really, facing today. Well, I don't always know what they're really facing. Sometimes I do hear from the clients, but every institution has their own thing. But I generally go to industry publications that are valuable and are reliable to that particular group.
Yes, and that's fantastic.
And so,
Because it matters to them, it's about them, it's about educational content that brings them
but
value.
the difference is what I think is important is that world-class salespeople do it and others don't. And that is also mitigating risk for you to put you in a better position if you're using that strategy to actually get the appointment. Because people say they're doing it and they're not.
Well, people say they're doing it and then they
takes work,
pitch.
right? It takes so much work. I don't want to actually go ahead and spend the
This is-
30 minutes.
This
in
is the
morning
easiest
to-
way to get phone calls, by the way, with the right people, by far, especially if you're leveraging your warm market, which is a whole other conversation. But here's the problem. Even when someone takes my whole class and then they go and they write their summary and they come back, it's a pitch because it's vendor specific. They're talking about their product. You have not earned the right for them to care about that yet. All you have to do is get their interest enough to want to have a conversation. So I've had people, I'm doing their LinkedIn makeovers and they'll say to me, well, I need to tell them this, and this. I said, no, you don't. You don't even know that they care about that yet. Just stick with what you know they care about, like about features. You know, they need to know that we're the only ones that do this. No, they don't.
Here's the tension. The tension is, I'm only allowed to say this because of marketing. I gotta stick with the marketing theme, because they feel like the marketing department is going to, you know,
Right.
say, you can't be saying stuff like that. So I think sales reps have a hard time discerning
There's a
what is
friction.
what is my own voice and my own presence and authenticity in this, and what is my marketing team's responsibility for messaging.
And that's what, when I'm working with companies like McKesson, we bring in the salespeople and a few marketing people. Or Aramark will have a few marketing people come in, because they need to see that bridge. They need to be part of that conversation. So marketing can truly support this without a doubt. The major content is still going to come from the sales team. That matters here. But marketing has to get that buy-in. They have the buy-in for social marketing, but they are still talking about features and benefits.
But that's why I think salespeople are afraid. That's what I'm
Yeah, I mean, it just,
salespeople feel that they're gonna.
They are,
A lot of
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did all this, and that's what the, like, you know, they're butting heads. Marketing did all this work, and sales doesn't understand what marketing's getting paid for, and you know, like, we're like, I don't get, and in the social selling world, I do believe social selling is a bridge. It's, you know, still in process, but it is the bridge between the two departments that will create. There's a question here?
Yeah, so let's take a different example. So I get that, like, we're all salespeople, and obviously I'm on LinkedIn all the time, so I see your updates, I know what you do. But if I'm the chief technology officer of a company and I'm busy and I know I have a problem and I need a solution, the first thing that I do isn't to go to LinkedIn and see.
100% I agree.
So I created my profile to, you know, drive traffic, right? So someone is looking for a DevOps engineer. Oh, hey, you know, I haven't written code in like 10 years, so I definitely won't qualify. Now, obviously, my company has those services, but usually you're getting recruiters that are trying to hire you.
Okay.
Right.
So
how
I
do you
love
change-
this question, right?
Right.
So so we just set the foundation. Now we have to go to work. Like, what we just did is foundational. So how we go to work is we start to identify who in our network can make warm introductions into those CIOs.
Okay.
Okay? So now we're starting to leverage that network for introductions. And if the introduction happens on LinkedIn, where's the first place they're going to look before they take your call? Hi, welcome, you had.
Cameo appearance.
So if you get introduced through LinkedIn, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to check out your profile because you're going to ask for a phone call, right? So, you know, I see Donna knows Tim, and I'm going, hey, Donna, I know you're my bud, right? And you know Tim. Oh, I know Tim. He comes to my networking events. Awesome. I'm trying to get in front of him. Would you mind making an introduction? In fact, I'll even give you a little paragraph. All you have to do is copy us both in an email or LinkedIn message, and I can take it from there. So you make this introduction, and I reply, Donna, thanks so much. Tim, I'm looking forward to having a call. Learning more about you and exploring ways we may be able to work together. Here's a link to my calendar, which is a big thing that I do. Here's a link to my calendar. Pick a time that works best for you. And because of your relationship with Donna, you're curious. If I had cold called you, no way.
Right. So I'm finding that you use like 3 people to do that introduction to get the inherent trust.
Well, then your profile's not good. Because if your profile hit those pain points with solution points, and a shared connection made an introduction, now I'm willing to take your calls. But if your profile is your resume, what am I going to take your call for? I'm a busy guy or gal.
Well, most people start on LinkedIn as a resume. You have to read.
I agree that 100%. And look, it was primarily a job-seeking tool, but I, since 2008, have now really kind of molded it for my own use. And now LinkedIn in the last couple of years sees it. They launched Sales Navigator. Right. I'm very fortunate to have great relationships inside of LinkedIn. I was just on the phone with them last night and hoping to guide them in the right direction. I feel blessed to be part of that conversation. But at the end of the day, if your profile, because they're going to check out your profile if you get a warm introduction, like 99% of the time, they're not, may not take your call, but they're going to say, who the heck is this, right? I'm going to look.
but it's also a matter of trust, right? So you would explicitly trust Donna, so you're gonna have a different opinion than if someone like I randomly met you networking, and then you didn't know it, and then all of a sudden I'm making an intro to you.
Most people aren't gonna do it unless they really trust you and know you. People don't give away those kinds of things. You have to.
Well, so
You know each other for a long time, so of
almost
course-
a month.
No.
You're
Not
like
long.
this, and I'm all the way over here.
No, we met a month ago with the first. step,
Here's what to validate what she's saying. I think when I'm prospecting, I do, my profile is complicated for me even because I do three things. I'm a recruiter, I'm a sales coach, and I'm a career
No, I
coach.
should not do
I'm sure you could. You're gonna have to resolve the.
You definitely talk offline.
Yeah. So whenever I'm reaching out, because I have like a list of 300 companies that I want to do business with. So when I'm trying to prospect to them or introduce myself, I'm always talking about something that's parity to them. It's not about me. I'm offering them something that's going to solve their business problem. How do I know they have the business problem? Well, because I've been in this space for a long time and I hear their business problems. But if I don't know it, I'm doing some research. I'm going to a colleague to find out. Listen, do you know any?
Yeah.
It is, and it's. Listen, you have to build in like 3 hours a day to that. Some people don't have it. I have to have it. I'm an entrepreneur. I mean.
Well, so and every client will start with how much time you're willing to commit, and we'll build a plan around that. And then when you see successes, we're gonna add 10 more minutes. And then when you see, because you know what, if you say to a salesperson typically 3 hours on LinkedIn, they're going, "Are you nuts?" But if I tell you 20 minutes a day, are you willing to give that a shot? Everyone is. I do my 20 minutes a day in front of the TV at night.
I say that for me because I don't have a marketing team. I didn't have.
I mean, it's great, but
You know.
most salespeople don't have the ability to invest that. Now, that being said, here are the things that I want you to do. You ready? Number one, every single time you talk to a client, prior to that conversation, and you could do this in advance, go through their connections, identify 4 or 5 people they know that you want to meet, and have those names with you every single time you talk to a client. And if there are 5.4 decision makers in every company, you get to do this 5 or 6 times, right? So you want to make sure you're identifying who they know. And now your conversation is, so Andy, you've been working with me for, he hasn't, I'm making it up, it's a role play. You've been working with me for 2 years now, and you've been happy with the services? Yes, right? Yeah. You know, I don't know if you know this, but the way that I've grown my business has been from referrals from my happy clients. I hope you don't mind, but I noticed you're connected to 5 people on LinkedIn that I'm really trying to get in front of. Can I run these names by you? And then we go through those names, and of the 5, 2 of them you don't know, 1 of them you don't like, but there's 2 in there that might be good introductions. Right?
May look
Right.
into some
So now I say,
shady
you know,
individuals.
so we've had this conversation, it's about 15 minutes, and I'm like, would you mind making an introduction? I'll even send you a little paragraph. All you have to do is copy us both in an email.
I'm so glad.
But you've actually known him.
He's my
So
client.
that's what I'm
No,
saying.
no. But that's fine. But I'm just saying, these are the things you need to do. How many people in here have 5 or more clients? Okay, so you have 5 weeks of homework. At least, because there's more than one decision maker inside. Number 2, how many of you meet for coffee one-on-one for networking? How's that going? Right?
Yeah.
What?
Great.
It's great. How much business are you getting from it? Okay, so for me as a salesperson, it's great because you are a people person and you're having fun during work, right? But if it's not converting to business, is it productive time? Go have coffee with them on the weekends. If we're having coffee meetings during the workday, what do we want to get? Business, right? That's what we want.
I know, it's true.
Right? So again, how many of you want new friends? Like, we're going to talk about the dogs and the kids. Oh my God. I hear enough of that from my friends, the people I care about. I don't need to hear this from new people, right? I hate to say that. Look, I'm all about building rapport around business. Like, it's just the way I am. And I, so now we're at coffee. We do whatever little chit-chatting there is. And I will have found 2 or 3 things on their profile that I will bring up in conversation to break that ice so that we have niceties, right? But the goal is ultimately to get introductions. So let's say, so Andy and I meet at a networking meeting and we like each other. Now I'm gonna say, and I know you're gonna say that's crazy because I barely know him, but it works. Andy, before we meet for coffee, feel free to look through my connections, pick out, 18, 20 names. We'll review them when we're together and we'll whittle them down to 3 or 4 meaningful introductions. How many people want to go on that coffee meeting? That's what every one of your coffee meetings needs to be.
And it has to have deliberate intention. Like, you need to know what you want to get out of it.
And so what's Andy gonna say? Awesome, you do the same. So now you go through and you filter out and you find the 18 or 20 people that Andy knows. You write down your list and you have 5 minutes of rapport building and you get to work. Hey Andy, can I see the list? And we get to work. This person, no. And what did I say, right? We're gonna get this down to 3 or 4. 3 out of the 20, we're gonna find 3. If you did this, how many people go networking for coffee once a week? So if you do that once a week, you're getting 12 introductions.
See, I guess I differ with you because if it's a really close contact, I don't give it to a stranger.
That's why 20 becomes 3. You get to pick the 3 of the 20.
But most of the people that I'm gonna give out are people I know and trust, and if I've only met someone at a networking
So then you make the introduction.
I'm not gonna
Andy
do
is a
that.
networking friend of mine who noticed we were connected on LinkedIn, and I thought it might make sense for you to have a conversation.
So she's talking about, how do you know somebody's credible?
You
Is there
don't.
a way for you to discern that?
Yeah, I mean, you can. Okay, so I say you don't. The core of my networking are other vendors of my clients. So I want 5 things from my clients. What do I want from my clients? I want more business. I want internal introductions. I want external introductions. I want testimonials and recommendations. And I want vendor introductions. So who's a great person for me? A Salesforce.com person. Who's your vendor? Who sold you your Salesforce? That's who I want to talk to. Because we are good referral partners. So the credibility is that my client loves this person. That's enough credibility. We share a client. So that's how I start. The other piece is what happens when your client goes, I don't like my Salesforce person. Hey, I got a good one. Because I just met him for coffee last week because it was my other client's sales guy. Whatever it is, right? And Salesforce is probably a bad example, but whatever, my marketing company, my website guy, my SEO guy, whoever it is, I love SEO guys. My SEO guy, right? Go to Matt Frederick, he's the best SEO guy in Philly. But anyway, moving on. But who's my SEO guy, right? So they go, I hate my SEO guy. Oh, I got a guy for you. So then you become a connector. So that's the way I get around credibility. But at the end of the day, because if you share a client and your client says they're good, that's great, right? But at the end of the day, it's networking. And if they're nice enough, I'm not going to give them my prime people. That's why my 20 becomes 3. I'll find 3 people that I'll make introductions to. If I burn them, I burn them. I mean, but I'll be really clear. It's not even burning them. I'll be real. I mean, I'm not going to do it with someone I don't like, but you shouldn't meet for coffee with someone you don't like, right? Like,
You don't know until you actually sat down and talked.
but when the introduction is from a networking perspective and you let them know. But you've got to open it up just a little bit and realize that I'm going to go here and then here, right? But you have to realize if your introduction is, I just met Andy at a networking event, he's a great guy. After talking with him, I thought it makes sense
You
for
would
me
actually say he's a great guy if you met him for 10 minutes at a networking event?
No, we're at coffee now.
Oh.
Right? I just met Andy at networking. He is a great guy. He noticed we were connected on LinkedIn, and after talking with him, I thought it might make sense for the 2 of you to talk. You're off the hook.
Okay.
I think the point is it just comes down to, with every conversation, with all those situations, just trying to add a little bit of value. It ends up building upon
There's
itself.
discernment there.
Right.
You're here, there's discernment.
Okay.
So let's hit the
I just want
questions.
to build on this
Promise.
conversation, sorry, quickly, which is, would you rather have, like, do what Brynne is suggesting and sometimes it not work out, or send out 1,000 cold emails?
Right.
It may not be an either or, but yeah, I mean, obviously.
But that,
Where are you gonna get a bigger bag? Where are you
yeah,
gonna
but yeah, that's what I'm just trying to help.
Thank you.
So, Brynne, historically, I've been doing about 9 out of 10 things that you're saying, which are great, but one of the things that I really will get better at is leveraging my profile to connect with people that are cold. I mean, I will go through 700, 1,000 of someone's contacts to see if I want to get into a company, because sometimes I just won't have somebody at a specific company.
So you want, how do you connect with them directly in a way
And
that
I've done
matters?
that, but.
Okay, ready?
Have you used like email? I mean,
I have.
it's like the
I'm not
worst thing.
saying, so
I do
email.
it.
Does it just, does it
So
work?
the number one purpose of InMail is it increases your SSI score. Okay, I am not an InMail, I mean,
It's not, SSI.
oh, social selling index.
Yeah, it's an index that LinkedIn created
I'm at a 97.
to basically rank who's
I'm
socially
gaming the
active.
system. Yeah.
Socially active. I think I'm like 90 or whatever it is.
That's
But,
awesome. That means you have Sales Navigator?
yeah.
Okay, so I think Sales Navigator gives you 10% when you're paying. Okay,
So really 80 then.
No, that's why I'm at 97, I'd be at 87. I'm right there, no, I'm taking full, like, okay. So how do you have to connect with a purpose. You've gotta have a purpose. Well, at least follow up with a purpose. So there are two ways of thinking. Connect and ask for the call, connect and nurture and ask for the call, right? So if it's a direct connect, I wanna nurture before I ask for the call. If it's an introduction, I just go to the call, not nurturing anything, right? I'm recommended to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. But you want, how do I get direct connect? So you wanna connect with a, like, this is walking the line, but your name came up on LinkedIn as someone I should connect with, so I thought I'd reach out and introduce myself. Let's connect and explore ways we may be able to work together. Throw it out. Did their name come up? Sure, in the search when you look for them, right? But they think it's LinkedIn suggested them, right? Like that. So I use that. It's a line, but I think I'm not crossing it. Okay, so now you connect. Oh, so now you want to be of value to them. So you can decide if you want 3 or 5 touches, whatever it is for you, right? And so who are you selling to? HR. What are you selling? Hiring software. Okay, so we want to talk about, so maybe you have a blog post on not hiring software, but maybe the 5 most important questions to ask on an interview. Okay, right? So, Fran, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I noticed you're in HR and recruiting. I wanted to share a blog with you. I wrote 3 weeks ago. I hope you find it helpful. So now you get to them to your blog post, right? Touch number 2 a week later, I endorse them for something. Okay, I know it's bogus, but you're touching again, right? It's touching, and that may not be what you decide to do. Touch number 3 may be, I mean, we could come up with it, maybe send them something else, right? Or maybe you look to see their activity and like and comment on something and share something that they shared, right? So now I've touched for 3 or 4 weeks, and now I reach out and say, I really love that article you shared. I've noticed a lot of your activity lately, and it would be great to just have a brief introductory call, just because we're LinkedIn together and explore ways we could help each other out. So now she knows who you are, she knows your name, you've had some notifications. She's much more likely to take your call.
People love praise. Like some sort of nice, just saying like that was a great post. Even like the smallest thing.
Why are they posting? They're posting because they want to be noticed. So what if you put in there, really valuable blog, here are my 3 takeaways. If you're in recruiting, you need to read this. Does she love you now? Do you know how high you are? Like, she's going to take your call before she takes her cousin's call, right? Because you matter to her in some obscure content way, right? And it's just really casually done. It's not like, even though you have a methodical process, you're building and nurturing, and so by the time you ask for the call, it's because you love the content she's been sharing. Or I noticed that you're following Bill Walsh as an influencer, and I found this quote from him I thought you'd like.
I love doing that.
Like how, these are the things that go, how could she not take your call now? I have to go there too, but yes.
Just because you're kind of talking about this, how do you like differentiate between like the ethics of social media and like what is the line between being creepy and like, because like if someone messaged me twice and I didn't message them back, like I think they're being creepy. You know what I mean? That's how I.
You gotta space it out over time, and that's when I'm like, you have a 10-day. This is the nurture. I have to go here, and then I'll come back to Carol. But this is you have to space it out. You have to make it kind of natural. The other thing you can do is connect with a few more people in the department, so that when they come back and look, they see you're connected to lots of people in their company.
That's a big trend.
Yeah, and then I have to go to Tim because
I want to add to
he's
that
been so
though.
patient.
You have to, in many ways, let go of that limiting belief and not think like a customer. I have people that email me from Salesforce and LinkedIn every day, like 6 and 7 or 8 times a week, and I don't get creeped out. I know that I understand that they have a territory to service, and I'm one of their clients, and that's the perspective that can help you lift off that I feel creepy. That's the only thing I can
It's
say.
also hard to tell if it's automated or not. A lot of these things are automated.
You can make them very much not automated. You can't automate a comment like that talks about your blog post. So you can
It's a
make.
lot different than email.
There are certain things that I like in automation, but LinkedIn, if I have an automated response, people are going to be like, oh my God, she lost all her credibility. When someone follows me on Twitter, it says, thanks for the follow, come join me on my home turf LinkedIn. Because I want to funnel them all in. It's an autoresponder. I have people that are like blacklist me because I do that. But Twitter, I love Twitter, but that's not my home turf. I want to interact on LinkedIn, and I'd say probably get 50 new people a month that followed me on Twitter, and now I'm connected on LinkedIn, where I can nurture that relationship because I'm not doing a great job of that on Twitter because I don't spend my time.
Quick question. I know we'll get to your question. When people send you connect requests,
Yep.
Even if they leave no personal message,
Yep.
you accept them.
So I am right in the middle, and I'll tell you how I decide. I look at their profile, and I say, if this person were in a networking room, would I want to have a conversation with them? And if the answer is yes, then I am going to connect with them and ask for a conversation. If I'm on the fence, you can reply to a message without accepting,
Yes.
right? So I would say probably 50 times a month, maybe even more, I'm replying, thanks so much for reaching out and asking me to connect. Can I ask how you found me? And,
Same thing.
right? And then have that conversation. Now, sometimes they'll say, I watched your videos and they were awesome. I'm connecting,
Yeah, that's an instant connect.
right? Or some people say, oh, my buddy Joe said I should follow you, your content, right? So all of a sudden, if I ignored them, I don't know that. So with the question of, can I ask how you found me? You have a conversation. If they ignore you, then you can ignore them. They're never going to be any value if they ignored you there. Right? Tim.
So just a brief on that one. So if there are LinkedIn profiles around this, I would say you should always accept those and say, hey, by the way, this is what I do, and then you have a sales meeting. Just throwing it out there.
I do that with email.
Very proud.
I do that with really bad emails I get. I don't know if you receive like really bad emails. I'll actually message the VP of sales or sometimes even the CEO. I'll say, hey, you have great company, great product. I just want to let you know I received this email. I don't think it's really reflective of your brand or what you're trying to build.
I have some ideas for you.
I have some ideas for you. Let's chat.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And literally it's a 90% accept rate.
So the thing that I found works really well for the coffee, because I used to do a lot of that, is you find like 3 or 4 people that you trust inherently that are selling to the same decision maker in the same type of profile company, and you do that over time, right? So I need 4 coffees a week, each one are monthly. As you're going out in your little sales world, you're meeting people that the sales person cares about. So now you're getting that implicit trust from the coffees. So the coffees to me are very valuable. And as their sales cycle and their prospects come in their funnel and out of their funnel, those also then, if they make sense, they easily get past me versus, oh, I just met you at a networking event, we had coffee, we like each other, and now I'm using my implicit trust.
And that's perfect. And I do a lot of that, but that's outside of the social realm. But it's fabulous, and I think that's huge. I have 4 or 5 people that I have a tight network with that I do that with.
If we rewind to kind of the beginning of the discussion, where you talked about different profiles, right? Summary, and then you get the discussion, and at the end of the conversation, you ask for the right to have another session. I mean, just if they say no, do you forget or do you nurture? And if you nurture, what do you do?
So that's a great. So I had someone that said no. He's a new author, book coming out in a couple of weeks. He wanted to know how he could sell it on LinkedIn, and we had a conversation. I'm like, you really can't sell, but here are certain things that you can do that would be very productive. And I have some ideas for you. I'd love to share when I launch my book. Some of the things that I did, love to share. It's like, well, you were very helpful. I really enjoyed this. This was a great conversation. You got a lot to think about. When I'm ready, I'll come back. That was a no, right? That was a no. So what did I do? I found 2 resources. One, another author came across my email to Thunderclap. I think it is. So Thunderclap, it's really cool. If you're gonna launch, I never saw it before. If you're gonna launch a book, then you can get people to back it, and then it actually, when you launch, a tweet goes out from every one of those people that, at the same time, right? So you get, since Thunderclap. So I said, a friend of mine has another book coming out. This came across my email. I wanted to share this with you because start this now, and when you launch in 2 weeks. And here's another idea that I had for you. If you want me to drill down on that, let me know. We can talk about setting up a session.
It seems like the point is,
Sorry.
it's a no, but it's a no at that point in time.
But
And
you still, if you really feel like it's a good prospect and they really need you, nurture with little insights and drip on them. Carol, we're gonna get to you. Yay! You've been.
So I've started one of these nurturing things.
Nurturing campaigns.
I don't know what we call it.
What are you using?
What?
Are you using like Constant Contact?
Well, it's definitely through LinkedIn. What?
What do you think?
What do you mean?
You might teach me something tonight.
No, because I don't know what to do next because, oh my God, he said yes. Now, this is someone who is, let me say, an executive vice president at, let's say, Fortune 50.
Okay.
All right, we're not talking about someone who's making $100 grand a year who has value of certain kinds of things. We're talking about,
The decision maker.
oh my God,
Okay.
right? All I want is 10 minutes of his time.
Okay.
He downloaded my ebook. I had evidence.
Excellent.
I sent an email. I sent through LinkedIn. I just sent a little note about
Okay.
connecting so that
Cool.
he would have easy access to who I am.
Excellent.
He accepted the invite,
Fabulous.
but he didn't look at my profile.
Okay.
And now I don't know what to do next.
So you want to send him another piece maybe that you published on LinkedIn? Since you were interested in this ebook, I thought you might be interested in this blog post that I had on LinkedIn. You could pick up the call. You could definitely call, but I would actually,
Do it a little bit
on
more.
that level, I might nurture a little more. But you know what? It depends on how interested they may seem. So maybe you reach out and say, I'd like to have a phone call, I'd like to schedule a call.
I kind of did that up front and said, 1 to 10 minutes and then.
So sometimes you have to earn the right for them to So if you feel like you've
So
earned,
just keep doing it. I'm
Well,
just kind of, I can't.
but you have to ask for the call at one point. It needs to be processed with the end game that you're getting a phone call. Because if you're not getting the phone call, who cares that he's connected to you?
No, I don't care, I was just shocked.
No, I don't mean that to you. I mean in general. That was a
Yeah,
general. It's a
exactly.
general statement, right? So our goal is to get a phone call, but many times you have to earn the right to get that phone call.
So
And if
just
you
keep doing it.
have to do it right. You have to do it right. You have to make sure
You
you.
know it's easier said than done.
Well, so you have a process in place. Yeah. Which sounds like you're working toward that, which is great, Andy.
So building on that, given that LinkedIn and even LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which I have, doesn't act in anything like a CRM, kind of methodology, or allow you to manage. Yeah, I'm guessing that. But at least today, what system, if any, do you use to actually manage this process, and do you ever integrate physical, like for example, direct mail or
I don't ever do direct mail, but I do email. But
so physical and as well as digital.
For me, and if there are other marketers in here, direct mail is an enormous expense. That does not typically, it depends, but does not typically get.
Well, I guess I didn't mean like in bulk. I meant like using it as part of the outreach.
I definitely have thank you cards I
Right.
handwrite.
Okay.
Absolutely,
Okay,
100%.
so that's where I was going.
Definitely.
But my question was more about what system.
So systems. So there are a couple that I really love that are, so if you're not a Salesforce.com shop or a Microsoft Dynamics shop, which, they're the big guys, there are a couple that are really cool. There's a social CRM called Nimble that is awesome. And when you combine, it's $15 a month. And when you combine Nimble with Reportive inside, and I use Gmail. Well, my social sales link is run through Gmail, so my email is in the Gmail platform. So when you run the two together, on your side panel of your email is your entire CRM, all your notes. Every time an email comes up, all your notes are there. I use Boomerang. This is a free Chrome extension. Reportive is a free Chrome extension. I use Boomerang. So is anyone else on Gmail platform for their email? Okay, so if you're on it, this is just a Chrome extension. Do you know what Boomerang is? Isn't it amazing, right? So how do I keep it? It comes in as an email. I say, come back to the top of my email in 5 days. So that much of my follow-up is through Boomerang.
Can I just give a shout out to a wonderful Philadelphia-based CRM?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Pipeline Deals is.
I don't even
excellent
know
software.
it.
Yes,
Oh yeah, they're good.
yeah, they're real good, and they integrate with Gmail quite well.
Pipeline is in Philadelphia?
Yes,
Pipeline Deals.
Oh, it's
they're
good.
right here in Philly.
So it's pipelinedeals.com.
Yep.
Fabulous, I'll check it out. I'm glad, I don't even know, do you know the guys?
My dev director knows them quite well.
Okay, cool.
Invite them down to
And it's
the
cheap.
Philly Enterprise
Yes.
Sales Meetup.
Yeah, I would,
You're
we're using it, but I
Pipeline
don't
Deals.
know Salesforce, but I recommend it to everybody.
Salesforce is really only good if you're an enterprise company. It is, well,
It's not a great database.
well, it
No,
depends.
it's a great
Well,
database.
is a
It's just
great
getting
database.
stuff into the database that can be the challenge.
So-
Really kludgy.
It can be clunky, but one of the greatest things about Salesforce is there are so many plug-in tools that go with Salesforce that are phenomenal that, and it's terrible for a 3-person company. I mean, if you want to go like that, go with like Zoho or
Pipeline.
I mean,
I recommend.
Nimble itself
Oh,
is
sorry.
really great.
Nimble is amazing. And Nimble was invented by John Farrar, who's my friend, but he and I grew up with Goldmine. He invented CRM. So remember that?
Yeah.
So John invented that, and now he brought Nimble to the market. What's your first name? Bruce. Hi, Bruce.
So, I see you posting all the time.
Oh, sorry.
And, no worries.
What's your last name?
Brown. Hootsuite.
Hootsuite.
Post.
I'm old.
What kind of analytics are you looking at to really gauge thought leadership from a LinkedIn standpoint?
That's a great question. So remember, I'm in sales and I'm not in marketing. So analytics are very, very different when you're from a sales perspective than when you're from a marketing perspective. So when you're in sales, there's a little ego. So what am I looking at? My KPIs are how many views did I get, how many likes did I get, how many comments did I get on something I post. That's it. The next thing I do is how many of these people are my first degree connections and how many are new people into my network that I didn't know before. So then my job is to engage with all the new people and connect with them and thank them for engaging with me. So I know it's not analytic. Again, I'm in sales, not in marketing. So for me, I look at that. Now I have KPIs that I look at, which are different than like Google Analytics. Like I think I have Google Analytics on my website. I've never actually really looked at it because I'm in sales. It's just the way I am. How many people download my ebook? That's a KPI. How many people are down? So I'm collecting that information. How many new connections turn into phone calls? That's a KPI for me. How many new phone calls turn into leads or prospects? That's a KPI for me.
Have you seen a lot of people who you're not connected with because of your content?
For me, yeah, like 70 a day.
Okay.
But I'm a content person. I have 70 new, between 50 and 70 people. It's
You can
crazy.
definitely attribute that back to the content.
100%.
When people download your ebook,
They're in a little campaign. But I connect with them. So I get an email from my Gravity Forms or whatever I have.
I
That says,
get the notice,
right, and so I go in and I connect with them on LinkedIn if I'm not, and I thank them for downloading my ebook. Let's connect on LinkedIn. And then if it's someone I want a phone call with, when we connect, I'd love to set up a brief phone call. Here's if you're interested in some social selling insights, whether or not we work together, I'm confident I'll give you some really good stuff. You know, I don't do it with everybody because I get people that are downloading that are not my prospects, right? So I determine who, but I'll still connect with them if they download.
So, I'm gonna ask one last thing,
Sorry.
because we're coming towards the end of our evening. I want to respect everyone's time. So good. But, one last note. Is there a book or something that's been really inspiring lately that you might want to share with folks?
My book or someone else?
We know about your book. If you want to mention your book, obviously please do.
Okay.
But something that might be kind of outside.
So I'm totally obsessed with the Challenger customer right now. I've read it twice and I have it on audio. The Challenge. Do you remember the Challenger sale by Corporate Executive Board?
Yeah.
They're the ones that came out 57% of the buying decisions made. You know, all those stats. Every one of those stats all came from the Challenger sale. They just launched about a month and a half ago the Challenger customer, and it's very interesting. It's from the customer's perspective versus the salesperson's perspective, and the insights, and that's where that consensus sale idea came through. It is so powerful. Probably my biggest takeaway. Oh, I had so many takeaways, but one of the things is, you know, if you're in how many of us are really in enterprise sales? Okay, so most of us go for the they call it the coach. I always called it my champion, right? You have someone internally that you are. So one of the things that they brought out is if this is a friend, the one that you can take to lunch that will take your call every single time, you're probably not going to get the action that you need, right? You need to have the mobilizers, they call them, people that are going to move you through. So what I've done though, because I'm like, I'm not giving up on my friends, I'm helping them to, I'm mobilizing my champions. So I'm doing the research for them. I'm coming up with the 5 people that I want to talk to instead of just saying, who should I talk to? And then I'm going in with those 5 names and saying, do you have access to their calendars? Great, let's sit down, even if it's a month and a half from now, and let's put a time on the calendar where we're all gonna meet. So I really because I got lots of friends and lots of places that things move slowly. And so I really you've got to mobilize these people. And so that was I'm sorry, I can go on. It's so
We'll
We have to stop.
Will you stick around for a little bit? We're gonna go to a pub in a little bit.
Okay, I drove.
Okay. We'll get the non-alcoholic side outside. But this was really great. I really appreciate your
This
time.
is so much fun.
It is, isn't it?
Come again.
Can we just give a round of applause for Brynne?